Welcome to MogulCast, where we uncover the stories behind the world's greatest business empires. Let's get into today's story. September 24, 2023, 3:47 a.m. Universal Time Coordinated. Bybit's security team watches in horror as $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT drains from their hot wallets in under 30 minutes. No alarms, no breaches, just a silent, surgical strike. By the time the dust settles, North Korea's Lazarus group has pulled off the largest financial cyberheist in history. This is the full story. And it is worse than you think. Bybit wasn't built for failure. Founded in 2018 by Ben Zhou, a former Forex trader, the exchange promised lightning-fast trades, zero downtime, and a user base that would grow to 15 million by 2023. But behind the scenes, one decision would haunt them: outsourcing key security audits to a third-party firm with ties to Chinese state-linked contractors. We will come back to that decision. It is the key to everything. Zhou's playbook was simple: undercut Binance on fees, outmaneuver Coinbase on speed, and dominate the derivatives market. By 2022, Bybit was processing $10 billion in daily trades, second only to Binance. But while the world saw a crypto unicorn, North Korea's Lazarus group saw a target. Their weapon? A single phishing email sent to a mid-level employee in Singapore. The email looked routine, a security update from IT. The intern clicked. Within seconds, malware spread through Bybit's internal network, granting Lazarus Group access to private keys. But here's the twist: Bybit's security team had no idea. Their outsourced auditors had missed a critical flaw, a backdoor in their multi-signature wallet system. Not everyone was celebrating. Bybit's edge wasn't just speed, it was opacity. Unlike Coinbase or Kraken, Bybit operated in a regulatory gray zone, with no clear jurisdiction. This allowed them to offer 100x leverage, attracting high-risk traders. But that same opacity made them a prime target for nation-state hackers. The media called it a crypto casino. Here's what they got wrong: Bybit wasn't reckless. It was vulnerable. September 24, 3:17 a.m. Universal Time Coordinated. Lazarus Group initiates the transfer. $1.5 billion moves in 1,200 simultaneous transactions, routed through mixers like Tornado Cash. Bybit's team scrambles, but the hackers had already exploited a flaw in their withdrawal limits, set to $100 million per transaction. By the time they patched it, the money was gone. And if you've made it this far, you already understand something most analysts missed. The hack wasn't just about money. It was a message. North Korea, crippled by sanctions, had turned to cybercrime as a primary revenue source. The Lazarus Group, linked to the 2014 Sony Pictures hack and the 2017 WannaCry ransomware attack, had now set a new record. But here's the chilling part: Bybit wasn't their first crypto target. And it wouldn't be their last. Bybit's response was swift: they froze withdrawals, offered a $10 million bounty for information, and promised full reimbursement to users. But the damage was done. The hack exposed a brutal truth: in crypto, security is only as strong as your weakest link. And for Bybit, that link was a single intern's inbox. Remember that decision we mentioned at the start? Here's what it actually cost. The outsourced security audit, conducted by a firm later revealed to have ties to Chinese state-linked entities. Bybit's due diligence failed to uncover a conflict of interest. The auditors were also working for North Korean front companies. That single oversight allowed Lazarus Group to map Bybit's defenses months before the attack. The cost? $1.5 billion. The Bybit hack didn't just shake the crypto world, it redefined it. Exchanges rushed to implement stricter KYC, multi-party computation wallets, and real-time transaction monitoring. But the real shift. Governments now treat crypto hacks as acts of war. The U.S. Treasury sanctioned Tornado Cash, and the UN launched an investigation into North Korea's cybercrime empire. The rules had changed. Today, Bybit is back. Trading volumes have recovered, and the exchange has rebranded itself as the most secure platform in crypto. But the scars remain. The $1.5 billion is still missing, laundered through a web of shell companies and dark net markets. And Lazarus Group? They're still out there, targeting the next vulnerable exchange. The question isn't if it will happen again, it's when. Here's the lesson most people miss: the Bybit hack wasn't just a failure of technology. It was a failure of trust. Bybit trusted an auditor they shouldn't have. The auditor trusted a client they didn't vet. And in turn, they trusted an email that looked legitimate. In crypto, trust is the ultimate vulnerability. And nation-states are exploiting it. $1.5 billion stolen. 1,200 transactions in 30 minutes. 15 million users left in limbo. One phishing email that changed everything. Bybit's recovery. $10 million bounty, 90% of funds reimbursed, but zero arrests. The Lazarus Group's haul. Enough to fund North Korea's nuclear program for a year. The numbers don't lie. The surprising truth. The Bybit hack wasn't inevitable. It was preventable. The flaw in their multi-signature wallet system had been flagged in a 2022 audit, but Bybit ignored it, prioritizing speed over security. The lesson? In the race to dominate crypto, the fastest player doesn't always win. The most secure one does. And Bybit learned that the hard way. If you want to understand how this pattern repeats across every major business collapse, the next video covers a story with disturbing parallels. That one is next. That's the story for today on MogulCast. If you found this valuable, subscribe and hit the bell. A new Empire story drops every single weekday. See you tomorrow.